Hey guys, it's Jess and welcome to my channel, Hello by DIY. Today I'm going to be sharing a really pretty wreath for Christmas with you guys that I'm using mostly Dollar Tree supplies for. There are a few things in here that I already had on hand, so I didn't want to go out and buy an additional bit of it, but you can totally get these things at the Dollar Tree as well. Or if you do DIYs or crafts frequently, you probably already have them. So I picked up this Peace on Earth sign from the Dollar Tree. Obviously it was $1. And I'm going to make a wreath. This is kind of going to be my focal point here. I'm just using a little bit of red paint. This particular red paint is something that I use in my paper crafting channel, so it is more expensive for what it is compared to like a regular craft paint. But you can totally use just red craft paint that you get at the store for like, I don't know, 97 cents or something. But you might already have some on hand. If you do, just use whatever you got. So I'm using a foam brush, which you can also get at the Dollar Tree, to dry brush or just sort of swipe the brush across. I'm not using a lot of paint. In fact, I tap the foam brush into the paint and then I kind of pounce it onto that little sheet that I have on the left there. That is actually a piece of paper that I laminated so that I could do things like this on it. I can use paint on it and whatever, and I can always see the actual color, but then I can just clean it off later and just reuse it over and over and over again. Doing the same thing here with black. Again, this is a more expensive, like craft paint, but it's not like a craft store paint. It is for painting. So don't use this, just use whatever you have on hand and that will be totally fine. Using the exact same technique here, just doing a little bit less because I don't want there to be a ton of the black. And I did do another version of this originally. The first one I made had the Merry and Bright wood letters or wording from the Dollar Tree. So they have Merry and Bright, Peace on Earth, and Let It Snow. They may have others, but those are the three that I found. So then just to finish things off, I probably should have just left it like this, but I added a little bit of white. Now this one did come from the Dollar Tree, and so I used a little bit of that, but the only downside is that in the photos, it makes it look a little blurry, even though it's not in person. I don't know why that is, but for whatever reason, the white, it's a little bit gray because I didn't get my brush completely clean or my sponge completely clean, so it looks a little bit gray. But anyway, it is what it is. If you don't like this part, just don't do it. Or you could just paint it a solid color if that makes you happier, but I liked the sort of distressed, crazy look that I got here with the fun colors, the red and the black, kind of a nod to Santa colors, also sort of like the flannel or plaid or buffalo check or whatever. I don't know. I liked the colors, so that's what I did. You pick a color that makes you happy. Once you're done painting, go ahead and set that aside to dry and you can move on to the next part, which is assembling the wreath. This is a bamboo wreath form that I got from the Dollar Tree. Of course, as always, it is $1. And this is a really good deal for a wreath like this. I went and actually bought a bunch of them because I plan to make lots of wreaths. So there you have it. All right, so I'm just trying to see size-wise where I'm going to put things, and you do want to make sure that you put these in the right side of the wreath because it's not really a complete circle. You can see that I got these two little floral picks from Joann. They were regular price, good grief, $2.99 each, and I did get them 60% off. So I paid less than $3 for the two of them. Together, like the total price for that is less than $3. So I thought it was worth it and they're really high quality. So I definitely wanted to use these. You can definitely get picks at the Dollar Tree as well, but I felt like these ones were a better quality. They looked nicer and more fancy. So I went with that. I'm also using some floral tape that I picked up at the Dollar Tree as well. This is kind of like a semi-sticky green tape that you just wrap around things to keep them in place, and it sort of adheres to itself. It doesn't really stick to anything else for the most part, but it does kind of adhere to itself. So it helps hold things in place, which is really convenient when you're trying to get a good placement on your floral bits here. So once I did that, I also pulled out this little bit of floral pick that I got from Kmart or Roses maybe. I don't even know if you guys have a Roses near you, but I didn't know we had one either. I hadn't been there since I was a kid, but I went and I found this. I really liked the color. It was $2.50 for the whole thing, but I only used two of these little parts of it, and I had already used two before I started this. So for $2.50, I mean, this cost me probably less than 50 cents to put on my wreath. So you really get a better deal, and it costs you less if you end up making more. I would suggest maybe give them as a gift or sell them at a craft show. I don't know. They're super cute, but it's worth it if you get the supplies because you can make more than one for that cost. Um, and the same is going to be true for the really pretty floral bits that I put in the center. I paid more, but I used about 50 cents worth of materials on my wreath. So I'm just using my hot glue gun to attach that. I let it sit and get nice and firm, let the glue cool down so that it doesn't come apart, but I don't like to leave things to chance, and I wasn't really confident that the hot glue wasn't going to let go. So I did also wrap around some twine that you can also get at the Dollar Tree in the hardware aisle. I wrapped that around the center just to keep it nice and tight and prevent it from falling off should the hot glue ever give out. All right, so this little guy here, or big guy, it's pretty large, is from Joann also. It's actually from their autumn collection. I think it's called Blooming Harvest or something like that. I actually got this 80% off. So the original price was $10, like $9.99. I bought it for $2. So it was 80% off, and then I only used two of them, and I had used two on a previous wreath that I used the Merry and Bright for. So again, it's about 50 cents that I used here on it. So far we are up to $1 for the wreath, less than $3 for the two floral picks there with the pine cones, but I'm just going to round up and say $3. So that's $4 plus maybe $1.10 for the other two bits of foliage. So maybe like $5.10. And then, I mean, it's kind of negligible the amount of floral tape that you use and twine that you use because you're going to have these on hand for all of your other projects. But I put $10 just because, like, if you have to go buy the paint or whatever, you might have to spend a little bit more. But honestly, I feel like this is a steal for how pretty this looks and how I don't know. I feel like it looks really fancy. You guys tell me in the comments what you think. I'm going to include a picture of the Merry and Bright version as well, and I hope you guys will tell me which one is your favorite. Okay, so you can see that I did go ahead and tie on that bit of floral pick, whatever they're called. I don't ever know what to call them, you guys. I'm not fancy. Those floral things, that's what I'm going to go with. The little sticks with the berries on them. I attached those with the hot glue, then I adhered them with the rope or the twine. Since the twine is already wrapped around other portions of this wreath, I thought it would be perfect. It would blend right in. And honestly, I couldn't find my floral wire either, so there's that. It's lost somewhere in my craft room right now. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and add these little bits of leaves in the back. I thought it was really nice to have something extra, something a little bit brighter to kind of round out this whole arrangement. And I find that I'm getting a little more comfortable picking out things that, at least to me, go together. But maybe other people think it's not cute. I don't know. You guys tell me. Does all of this seem to go together? If you had seen this just out somewhere, would you second guess it? Or would you be like, those aren't Christmas flowers? Or do you just think, hey, that's a pretty arrangement. I like that. I'd love to know what you guys think. All right, so again, I am just using the leaves here, tucking them in the back. I wanted them to go in front of the wreath form, but behind the flowers, so that it kind of got a nice layered effect, but there wasn't a huge gap in between the flowers. And you can see here, again, I'm just using my trusty hot glue gun, stick it on some of the leaves because the fabric or whatever, the silk flower sort of thing, seems to stick better than the plastic bits of the stems. And because they're easier to manipulate and move, they stick easier than the stem, which is kind of rigid. It's harder for it to stick there. So once I finished letting that glue set, I did actually go ahead and use a little bit more twine to wrap it around. Same thing here. I just wrap it around a couple times, tie a knot, and call it a day. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy. I like to do things as quickly as I can without wasting time and materials. so it works for me. Once I finish that, that is pretty much it for this part. All I have to do then is attach the Peace on Earth wording. So now it's nice and dry because I did give it quite a bit of time to dry, and I'm ready to go ahead and adhere that as well. It took me a little bit to figure out where I wanted the placement. I didn't want all the words to be hidden, so I kind of moved it around and saw what I liked, moved the leaves. I said, no, I don't really like that. I'm going to move it to the front. And so I ended up putting it in front of these leaves, and I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. So all I'm doing is just adding a little bit of hot glue underneath where the wood sign meets the wreath. It did take longer for this to set once I put the hot glue on, so just keep that in mind because there are holes and whatever the powers may be, I don't know. It just took a little longer for the hot glue to set, so I did have to hold it firmly in place for longer than I kind of expected. But once I did that, it held just fine. I didn't have any issues. Now, I did want to put some hot glue under the leaves and things like that so that it would stick better, in my opinion. Like I said earlier, the fabricy sort of areas tend to stick with the hot glue better, so I like to give it as much chance as possible to stick and not fall apart. And I haven't had any problems yet. Everything seems to hold together really well, and the wreaths look really high quality, at least in my opinion. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. You could even put it on your fireplace or on a table or something like that as a display piece. Or of course you can hang it on the door. I would love to know what you guys think about this. Do you like it? Do you want to try to make one? I hope you will. If you do, be sure to tag me on social media at HelloByDIY, and I'll see you guys again in another video really soon.